Finding Voices podcast is back.
Yep,
Motherfuckers.
we had a bit of a hiatus for, I don't know, numerous reasons between all of us, and we didn't actually do anything, but we're back. And we're gonna explain all the stuff we learned in the meantime.
Broken brothers are here. Hey, I'm younger brother. This is my older brother. We are broken brothers now. Check us out.
We changed our name.
No, it's Alexander Kuzmenko here. I'm a person who stutters. I'm fluent as fuck.
And I'm Eugene and Alex, also a person who stammers.
Right, so while we're waiting for a Tom, we're doing a micro discussion about monster study.
Yeah, so long story short is literally an hour or two ago I was watching YouTube and then came across this largely unethical study called the monster study. The reason it's called that is because the study initially was aimed at finding the effect of positive or negative reinforcement on stammering. It was unethical because everyone was emotionally scarred by the end of it. They didn't have any controls, and it didn't actually achieve what they wanted to do because everyone who stammered still stammered at the end, as we'd expect. But the interesting thing for that study is that the fluent speakers had a change in how they spoke, or their personalities even, which is so it was basically the idea was you have two groups of people, about 20 people split into two groups. Each of those groups had about half stammering, half fluent. Those two groups one group had positive reinforcement, like saying that they don't care how it sounds, just be yourself, it's all cool, you don't stammer. The negative group were told that you do stammer and don't speak unless you can get it right. End result, after this study, the positive reinforcement group, their self-esteem improved. The stammerers still stammered, but everyone was more confident. Negative reinforcement, the stammerers still stammered, but everyone, fluent speakers included, were a lot less confident about how to express their ideas. As a result, they became withdrawn, timid, and all the rest of it. The reason it's interesting is because the fluent speakers became as withdrawn as the stammerers, or more so because of the environment. So the monster study itself, really bad for an actual study about stammering, really interesting for the separation of the physical act of stammering versus people's input and the environment of stammering or negative reinforcement. So as stammerers, we get a lot of negative reinforcement because we look with when we stammer. So, but it means negative or positive reinforcement won't make a blind bit of difference to how much you actually stammer, because that's all in your head anyway. Because that will only affect how you perceive yourself. So if you have well, from this study, we can say if you have more positive reinforcement, regardless of stammering or not, you'll still be more confident, which is what you want. Alex.
Alright, so the idea is that there are levels of severity of stuttering. Right? There are overt, covert, obviously. And that's just how much you stutter. If you stutter a little, if you can substitute words, if you use a few tricks and it's almost enough, you're covert. Or you're on a borderline and you think that you're covert, but actually you're avert. So you're lying to yourself and to others. I mean, I've been on every single fucking stage of this thing. And this monster study, it proves nothing but that you can probably make a covert or potential covert into overt under some extreme psychological circumstance. So maybe avert people are more sensitive to this world, so even a little change can make a huge effect.
Also, it explains in a way how you get covert stammerers, because I'm an overt stammerer. So like, I've always thought that people could see me stammering from a mile away. So I had this stupid view as a kid, which is that people could guess what I was going to say before I said it. So I was like, anything to avoid stammering or speaking. Obviously turned out not to be true, but it meant I was attempting to avoid having negative feedback. And I think that means coverts are more adept, shall we say, at avoiding negative feedback. For whatever reason, they're like more in control of them. They're more concerned about how people perceive them. While overts would not really care so much how people perceive them, but as a result perhaps suffer more because they begin to care more and they don't have the strategy for dealing with it.
Well, yes, totally yes. But maybe others are people who require more control. So we tend to over control our speech. When coverts, most of the time, they can just let it go and let the shit fly. And when stumbling comes, then they use techniques, tricks to let go of the controls instead of adding more controls.
Yeah.
I used to not be able to do that. Now I can just let myself go sometimes, but then I find myself adrenaline injection, like all of a sudden something triggers it, and I'm no longer a fluent person. So and then it's important to not hide, like not avoid eye contact, and just trying to release those clutches of control, so the flow can go again. Formulation, for example.
Yeah.
Just letting yourself making a pauses, basically. I don't know.
Right. I hope you found this short chat interesting, and we'll speak to you very shortly for the fuller length episode. So I'm Eugene with Gallagher.
Alexander Kuzmenko here.
Bye for now.
Bye for now, y'all.